All right, team C106. So next month's workout, once again, it's cardio-based workout. What does that mean? That means we use cadence and range of motion to get their heart rate up. We do not use weight. We do not want to break their muscle tissues down when we're doing cardio. So just range of motion and cadence. So you have 3 circuits of 3 exercises, and they're all running simultaneously. So how you have it is you have exercise 1, 2, 3. Then in the back you have 1, 2, 3, and then here you have 1, 2, 3. And you're going to run them simultaneously. So you need to get at least 3 people in each exercise, so you don't have a whole lot of people in each exercise. You also have an exercise, a circuit at the very end that involves mountain climbers and planks. But we'll get that once we're done with all these. I'll show you. The circuit that they do at the end, everybody does together. All right, circuit number 1, exercise number 1 is the vertical mountain climber. So the vertical mountain climber, it's just like high knees, except for you're going to use the arms. The arms really help drive the heart rate. So this is all you need to demonstrate for the beginner. That's all they need to do. In fact, all they need to do is a nice slow motion. Okay, now you want a little bit more, add that hop in there. You want a little bit more, you just go faster. The faster you go, the more you're going to get. Next, you have an active recovery. So that's the anaerobic exercise. Your active recovery is the power wheel hold or plank, or I'm sorry, power wheel rollout. So the way these are designed is they have an arrow. They only go one direction. It'll even say left and right. Make sure you explain that to people. Demonstrate with your knees up against this bench, because the beginner should never go anything past that. All they do is keep those hips down. Now you'll see a lot of people do this, not really getting a whole lot out of it. You want to keep those hips down. They don't need to have a big range of motion. As they get more core strength, their range of motion will increase. They need a little bit more. You want to challenge yourself, you just come out with those legs. The further you go out with those legs, the harder this becomes. Okay, if you really need more, you can go on your toes, and you can do it on your toes. But I only recommend that for people that have an incredibly strong core, because they can really hurt themselves doing something like that. They can create a hernia fairly easily if they don't have a really strong core. Next is going to be the fast feet box jump. Fast feet box jump. All you're going to do is demonstrate this. Walk up, walk down. Fast feet, walk up. You notice I'm switching my lead leg, and then walk down. Now, you need a little bit more. You're going to stay a little bit lower. Those feet are going to go a little bit faster. You're going to jump up, walk down. Jump up, walk down. You want a little bit more? Fast feet. You're just coming up and down. You want a little bit more? You can go on that higher box. I don't recommend too many people go on the higher box. They don't need to go that high. A lot of impact when you do the higher box. They just need to do quicker movements, more explosive movements. That is circuit 1. Circuit number 2 is going to be the slam ball toe touch. Again, on slam ball toe touch, for the beginner, all they're doing is basically just walking in place and just touching that ball. That's all they need to do. They want to get a little bit more for somebody who doesn't have a lot of, who doesn't need or shouldn't have a lot of impact on their knees. They're just going to go a little bit faster. And then for everybody else, it's going to be more of a sprint. You want to make sure they're sprinting, because if they're just sitting there kind of doing a light jog, they're not going to get that heart rate up. Next is going to be the Rip 60 reach. So the Rip 60 reach, what you're going to do is these come out on the side. So they're on either side of your shoulders. You're just going to come up. You're just reaching. Now, the further you come out here, the easier this is. This is quite easy at this point. The further you go back, the harder this becomes. Also, the further down these straps are, the more you let these things out, the closer they are to the ground, much harder it gets. Okay, so you've got a couple of options here. Option 1, once again, is to walk out. Option 2 is a walk further back, and the further back they go, the harder it is. And if that's still not enough for them, then they can simply hold it out here in this position. Try to make sure they keep those heels down. When they're doing this, they want to keep those heels down so that they can stretch those calves. Once again, we can use this as not only an active recovery, working the core, but also stretching some of our body parts that need stretching, and the calves are a big one. So remember to keep those heels down when they're doing this. Stretch out. Okay, they're just going to kind of go back and forth. Again, if they can hold it. Last exercise is the side-to-side step tap. So here, for most people, all they're doing is stepping on, stepping off, or for the beginner rather, step on, step off. Okay, they need a little bit more, they're just gonna go faster. Once you add that hop, you're gonna start adding a little bit more speed. The more speed you have, the harder this is gonna be, but you have to be careful because, again, when people are doing this, if they don't get their foot completely off that bench, they can roll their ankle up very easily. The other thing too, is that if that's too much for them, they can't coordinate that, they can simply do this right here. So for a lot of the beginners, just doing the step tap, or the tap step, step tap rather, is going to be more than enough for a lot of our beginners. And there's circuit number 2. Circuit number 3 is going to be the jump over box squats. You notice they're staggered. You also have some extra risers there for people that want a little bit more. The reason that they are staggered is so that somebody can be back there and somebody can be here. You probably don't want these risers here. You probably want them up there so that somebody doesn't trip on them when they're doing it up here. And you may need to move these a little bit more forward. So jump over box squat, all you're gonna do is demonstrate this. Come down into a squatting position. You're just walking over. So you're just walking over when it comes to the beginner. And that's all they need to do. Low riser, they may even not need any risers. Remember, the beginners, take it super easy on them or we're gonna lose them or injure them. Now, you want a little bit more, go a little bit faster. If you want more, that's where you had that hop in there. Want more? You just add more explosive. The more explosive, the higher the step, the more you're gonna get that heart rate to drive up. Again, we're not doing this number here as fast as we can. We're jumping over. Different movement, completely different movement. That's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2 is the medicine ball twist. So what you're gonna demonstrate here, you don't need a lot of weight here, but what you're gonna demonstrate is feet on the ground, and you're gonna twist from side to side. Now, this is not twisting from side to side. This is twisting from side to side. You're gonna engage more muscles if you take your entire upper torso and twist it as opposed to just moving your arms from side to side. Now, if you need a little bit more, bring those feet up. Again, twist the entire upper torso from side to side. Want a little bit more, you can go a little bit faster. Don't try to make it too fast, or you can go a little bit heavier. Now, for some people that can't get, or they have tailbone issues or something like that, you can have them simply do a crunch. You can have them do bicycles. You can have them do feet flutters where they're supporting their back with their hands underneath their glutes. Exercise number 3 is going to be the slam ball slam. Now, for the beginner, you're going to want to have them use one of these small light balls. And the reason is because it makes it so much easier. They simply just barely have to kind of just drop this ball down and it's going to come back up to them and they're going to get a little bit better form. They can at least start to understand how to slam the ball down, because some people will do stuff like this and then they can't catch it, or they'll slam it out there like that, they can't, and then they're running after it and they kind of ruin the exercise. So again, beginners, all you're trying to do is keep that chest up, use the legs and the arms to slam that ball down. Now, for everybody else, you're going to use the slam balls. And the reason is you don't want that bounce back. So for somebody who's really has a lot of force throwing it down, even somebody who doesn't use a lot of force, that ball is going to bounce back at him in the face. So here, what you're going to demonstrate is you're going to slam it and then come down and pick it up. This is what most people are going to end up doing. You want a little bit more out of it? Slam it hard enough to where you pick it up on the bounce. Want a little bit more? Speed, height, but try to keep that chest up. Granted, you're not going to be able to keep the chest up unless you really have good mobility in your hips, because when you get down here, you're going to probably drop the chest down a little bit, but try to keep that chest up as much as you possibly can. Now, the last circuit is mountain climbers. Now, on the mountain climbers, anytime we do a mountain climber, you want to take the opportunity to stretch out the calves, because you're going to be doing an active stretch with the calves. And what I mean by that, and most people are going to have their butts up in the air a little bit more, and they come down and they simply stretch out that calf. Notice how my heel's going to the ground. Now, somebody who's overweight, you got to be really careful about that. Just tell them, you don't want them coming and slamming down on that calf muscle if they're weighing 50, 60 pounds and their calf is really super tight. You got to be careful about that. But we want to stretch out that calf muscle. So here, you're trying to get those hips down and trying to get the heels down. Now, the rest on this is simply a plank.
So you're gonna do mountain climbers for 30 seconds, then you're gonna hold it here for 15 seconds. Then you're gonna do some more mountain climbers, and then you're gonna hold. So there is no actual rest time. It's an active rest on that last circuit. Now, even though you did quite a bit of core, I still encourage you to use the team challenge to finish off the core, do something core related. You don't necessarily need to do anything metabolic in nature. You can, but I always encourage core. Most important is trying to make sure that they have fun, they create relationships in the team challenge so that they want to come back again.